Hello, everyone, and good evening. I'm sorry I didn't record earlier. I was not feeling well this weekend after working so much. Anyways, I'm back, and I hope you guys are having a good weekend. This is chapter 6. It's going to be pretty long, so maybe you want to read it tomorrow. I'm not sure. But it's called underselling. Underselling. Pricing the same goods for less than the competition. Competition. Jesse and Evan are having a competition with lemonade. So do you think someone is going to be cheaper than the other one? That's what I think. And we already knew that they were having a war with the lemonade stand. So this is kind of like foreshadowing. And foreshadowing means that you actually, it gives you hints of what's going to happen in the future. So let's see what's going to happen. But I think that someone is going to price something lesser than the other one. Jesse knew that Evan was up to something. First of all, there were all the phone calls last night, at least 10 of them. Then he come knocking on her door this morning, asking if he could have the pieces of foam core she had been leaning against her bedroom wall. No way, she answered. That's for my Labor Day display. Oh, give it up. Today's Thursday. The contest is on Monday, and you don't even have an idea, Evan said. I do have an idea. I'm just not telling you. Jessie still didn't have a clue about her Labor Day project. But she wasn't going to give Evan the satisfaction of knowing that. Then how come you haven't done anything? Evan said, pointing at the blank foam core and the bags of untouched art supplies. You're supposed to have pictures and typed up information and a big title. It's supposed to be like a school report. Jessie scrunched her eyes and pursed her lips. If you're such an idiot, look, don't worry. It's going to be great, and it's going to win first prize. And anyway, Mom bought all the supplies for me, and I'm not giving anything to you. Jessie heard Evan mutter, miser, just as she slammed the door in his face. And now 3 of Evan's friends were over, Paul, Jack, and Ryan. All 3 had shown up with paper bags, and they were all in the garage making lots of noise with a big keep out sign taped to the door. Not that Jessie would have gone in there anyway. Who cares what a bunch of boys are doing? But she wished Megan had invited her to come over before lunch instead of after. Jessie went into the kitchen to make a turkey sandwich. The boys had left a slimy mess of peanut butter, Doritos, and yes, sticky puddles of lemonade mix. Jessie quickly looked in the trash can and underneath the kitchen sink. There were 12 empty cans of frozen lemonade mix. 12! That was 96 cups worth of lemonade. 96 possible sales. Holy cow. Where had Evan gotten the lemonade? He hadn't gone to the store, and he hadn't any money anyway. Then Jessie remembered the paper bags that Paul, Ryan, and Jack had carried in. She bet the boys had raided their freezers and brought over a stash. That didn't seem fair. She and Megan had to buy their lemonade today, using the money they'd made yesterday. How were they going to stay ahead of the game if the boys had free lemonade to sell? Thanks, Jessie. Think, Jessie, think, she whispered to herself. She wouldn't let those boys win. See what happens. By the time she finished her lunch and cleaned her mess, she wasn't going to lift a finger to clean up the boys' mess. She had been beginning of a plan in her head. which was why she found it doubly confusing when she knocked on Megan's screen and Carly Brown came to the door. Jessie'd been all ready to say, "I've got a great idea," but then there was Carly, looking down at her like she was an earwig. Is Megan home?" asked Jessie. Carly didn't open the screen door as she looked left and right behind Jessie. "Where's Evan?" "Huh?" Megan came running down the stairs carrying bottles of nail polish. "Oh, hi, Jessie," she said, opening the door. She poked her head out and looked around. "Where's Evan?" "He's at home." "Why?" asked Jessie. Carly made a noise like a snorting hippopotamus. "I thought you said he was coming," said Megan. "No, I didn't," said Jessie. "You said it would be fun to make homemade lemonade stand with all three of us." "And I said that would be fun. So didn't he want to?" asked Megan. "Oh, I never asked him," said Jessie. "Oh, I thought you were going to," said Megan. "Then we should have said, 'Hey, Jessie, ask Evan if he wants to make a homemade lemonade tomorrow.' And then I would have asked him." This was exactly what drove Jessie crazy about girls. They always said things halfway and then expected you to get the other half. And Jessie never got the other half. Carly gave Megan a look. Jessie wasn't positive what the look meant, but she was pretty sure it wasn't a nice one. This was the other thing that Jessie hated about girls. They were always giving looks that contained all kinds of strange and complicated messages. Last year in second grade, there had been 4 girls who were always exchanging looks with one another. Becky Baker, Lorelai Son, Andrea Hennessy, and Eileen Garrett. Jessie watched them and knew that Evan was right. They talked without words. They used their eyes to pass secret messages. She also knew they didn't like her, but only because Evan had finally explained it to her over Christmas vacation. Jessie was surprised he told her this. They laughed so much. How could they be mean? They were 4 who started the club, the Wild Hot Jelly Beans Club, or as they called it, the WHJ Club. Becky was president, and she was always telling others what to do. They made signs and paper buttons and membership cards. The teacher, Mrs. Soren, didn't usually allow clubs in the classroom, but she made an exception, telling the girls, "I will let you wear the buttons in class, but only if you let all the other kids join, if they want to." By the end of the day, every kid in the class was wearing a WHJ button, even Jessie, who never belonged to a club before. It seemed like Becky was being so nice to her. "That should have been your first clue," Evan told Jessie. Becky made extra buttons for Jessie and even helped tape them all over her shirt. And she made special membership card for her and even a WHJ sign that she helped Jessie glue onto her writer's workshop folder. Jessie remembered all the girls laughing and Jessie laughing too, and all the girls' strange looks that Becky and Lorelai and Andrea and Eileen kept flashing back and forth like secret notes passed in class that Jessie could never read. The next day, Mrs. Soren collected all the buttons, gathered up all the membership cards, and even replaced Jessie's writer's workshop folder. "No clubs in the classroom," she said. "I made a bad choice by allowing it, even for one day." On the playground, Jessie went up to Becky. "Why is she breaking up the club?" she asked. Becky gave her a sour look. She'd been grumpy all morning. "Don't you get it, you dummy? WHJ doesn't stand for Wild Hot Jelly Beans. We just said that to Mrs. Soren. It stands for We Hate Jessie. It's the We Hate Jessie's Club, and everyone in the class is a member." Jessie stared at Becky. Why did they hate her? What had she ever done to them? It didn't make sense. And then Lorelai, Andrea, and Eileen had laughed, and even Becky had managed a smirky grin. Jerks, Evan said later when Jesse told them the whole story. They got rocks for brains. But Jess, you got to be on the lookout for girls like that. Standing in Megan's front hall, Jessie stared at Carly. Something inside her told her Carly was a girl like that. Look, said Jessie, it doesn't matter. Evan can't come over. He's busy. And we got to get going on our lemonade stand. I got a great idea. We don't want to do lemonade stand, said Carly. Jessie looked at Megan. It's just that Megan fiddled with the bottles of nail polish in her hand the same way she fiddled with her band bracelets the day before. It's kind of hot, and we did the lemonade thing already. And now Carly is open. You know. You said you wanted to, said Jessie. And I thought you liked me, she added in her head. She felt a lower lip tremble. Not now, she shouted. Inside, don't you be a big baby. Megan stood there, saying nothing, fiddling with the bottles. Then she turned to Carly. Oh, come on, Carly. It'll be fun. We made a ton of money yesterday, and it was really fun. Carly crossed her arms, tightened her lips, and raised one eyebrow. It was amazing how high she could raise that eyebrow. Jessie had never seen an eyebrow go that high. Ah, come on, Carly, Megan said again. Carly didn't move a muscle. Well, then, I guess, Megan's voice trailed off. She clicked one bottle of nail polish against another so that it made a tapping sound that filled the long silence. I guess me and Jessie will do the lemonade stand alone then. Carly dropped her eyebrow and her arms. Whatever, she said, and she walked out of the door. Spend the day with babysitting if you want. The screen door slammed, followed by a huge bucket full of silence. Whatever, said Megan, imitating Carly's voice. Jessie laughed, even though she was still stinging from babysitting's remark. Thanks for doing the lemonade stand with me, she said. Are you kidding, said Megan. She's such a stuck-up jerk. I didn't even invite her over. She just rode by. And when I said you and Evan might be coming over, she walked into the house. All the girls in fourth grade like her, asked Jessie. She tried to sound casual. Some are, some aren't, said Megan. She sat down on the stairs and opened a bottle of sky blue nail polish. With a quick, expert stroke, she started painting her toenails. Hey, that's right. You're going to be in our class this year. That's so weird. Jumping a grade. A lot of people skip a grade, said Jessie. Really? I never met one before. Here, do your toes green, and then we'll coordinate. Jessie ended up getting more nail polish on her toes than her toenails. But by the time they were done, Jessie had explained her plan for the day. Value added. See, she said, pulling a 10 bright ideas light up your sails from the back pocket of her shorts. She turned to bright idea 2 and pointed to her finger. Value added, something extra, such as a special feature or attractive package, added by a company to get a product that makes the product more desirable in the marketplace. That means we give customers something extra they didn't expect, explained Jessie. I mean, anyone can go home and mix up their own batch of lemonade, right? So if you want to buy from us, we got to give you something extra. We add the value. Great, said Megan. What are we going to add? Well, how about chips and maybe pretzels? Everyone likes chips and pretzels. We'll just have a bowl of them at the table. And anyone who buys lemonade can have some free snacks. So we're adding value. Snacks. Yeah, except Jessie had stayed up late last night reading her mom's booklet. You know what's we're really adding fun. That's the one thing people can't get by themselves. It looks like we're selling lemonade and snacks, but we're really selling fun. And everyone wants fun. Wow, said Megan. That's really smart. It'll be like a party. Who doesn't want a party? Jessie nodded her head. She carefully tore out the definition of value added from the booklet and put it into her lockbox. Her mother always said, some ideas are like money in the bank. An hour later, they were all set up. The lemonade stand was newly decorated, and the streamers and balloons. 3 bowls of snacks, Cheetos, potato chips, and pretzels were set up on top. Jessie had lugged Megan's boombox all the way downstairs, and Megan was doing the DJ thing with her CDs collection. It looked like a party had somehow sprung up right in the middle of the most hot concrete sidewalk. To anyone passing by, the lemonade stand shouted, "Come over here! This is where the fun is!" As soon as the music had come on, customers were started drifting over. One of the moms across the street set up a sprinkler in front of her front yard, and soon all the kids in the neighborhood were running through the sprinkler and grabbing handfuls of Cheetos. 2 women walking by their dogs stopped for a nibble and ended up staying for an hour. And 3 or 4 of the neighborhood mothers set up lawn chairs nearby and talked and ate pretzels while their kids ran through the water. But Jessie noticed a funny thing. Even though there was endless buzz of activity around the stand, and chips were flying out of the bowls faster than Megan could restock them, they weren't selling much lemonade. "Hey, Jordan," said Jessie as a 4-year-old boy ran by in the bathing suit. "Don't you want a cup of lemonade?" Jordan dive-bombed the pretzel bowl and came up with a fistful. "I had too much already. 4 glasses." And he ran off. "4 glasses," said Jessie to Megan. "He didn't buy any. Mrs. Doran, don't you want a cup of lemonade?" "Sorry, Jessie, I have to pass," said Mrs. Doran. "I had 2 already, and I'm trying to cut down on sugary drinks." "Where's everybody drinking so much lemonade?" wondered Jessie. She looked down the road. "Oh, wait a minute. Megan, hold down the fort," said Jessie. "I'll be right back." "Sure thing," said Megan, dancing to the music. "This lemonade stand was the greatest idea. It's like a birthday for the whole neighborhood." Jessie headed down the road. As she rounded the bend, she prepared for the worst. Evan's lemonade stand crowded with customers, but there was nothing, absolutely nothing. The corner was deserted. She crossed the street and went into the garage. There was the cooler, dirty and empty, and there were stacked plastic cups, 4 of them this time. And there was, wait a minute, those were new signs. Jessie pulled out 3 large pieces of foam core. On the back of each one was a part of the penguin project Evan had done last year in 3rd grade. On the front were big letters: "Slow down, cheapest lemonade in town ahead. Yesterday's prices, today's lemonade. You won't believe your eyes. Icy cold lemonade, just 10 cents a cup." They were selling it for 50 cents, and they got 10 cents. That's why she wasn't selling any lemonade. Jessie couldn't believe her eyes. 10 cents a cup, that was crazy. Even if she sold all 96 cups, that would only make $9.60 and split 4 ways. That was just $2.40 for each boys. Evan was never going to get $100 with that kind of profit. Jessie went into the basement. Evan and Paul were playing air hockey. Washoo! The puck flew into Evan's goal, and Paul threw his arms into the air in a victory V. "Oh, snap," said Evan. "You're winning." "Winning. Are you kidding me?" said Paul. Then he dropped his voice to a gravely growl and said, I don't play to win. I play to pulverize. Just like the muscle guy actor in Agent Down, the movie that all the boys were talking about. Paul was even flexing his muscles like that actor, except that Paul didn't have any muscles. At least none that Jesse could see. Paul saw Jesse. He dropped his arms. Hey, he said. Paul was Jesse's favorite of Evan's friends. He always joked around with her, but in a nice way, and never minded when Evan invited her to come along. Hey, said Jesse, what's up? Evan turned off the air hockey table. Nothing, he said. We're just going out. Paul dropped his hockey paddle onto the table and followed Evan into the garage. Jesse trailed behind. Where are you going? She asked. Paul, down to the tracks, said Paul as he strapped on his bike helmet. We put pennies there this morning, so we're going to get them now. Squash. Yeah, no. Yo, shouted Evan. My bee, muttered Paul. So see ya, he said to Jesse. Jesse hated this feeling of being shut out, like she wasn't wanted. Evan had never made her feel that way before, even when he did want to be just with his friends. He always say things like, Jess, we're going to go shoot hoops just like the two of us. But when we get back, we'll play Spud with you. So that she knew he still liked her, even when she wasn't invited along. But this was like he hated her, like he never wanted her to play with her again. And Paul was going right along with it. Jesse scowled. So you really cleaned up today at the lemonade stand, huh? She said. Yep, we sold out, said Evan. So what did you make? Like $3? She asked. Actually, we made a ton. What was it, Paul? $45, said Paul. Jesse's mouth went slack. $45. There's no way, she said. Not at 10 cents a cup. Oh, just the little kids paid that, said Evan. The grown-ups all gave us way more. That's too cheap, they said. It was such a hot day, and you're working so hard. Here, take $1. Keep the change. It was crazy. Unreal, said Paul. That kept pushing all this money at us, 'cause they thought it was so sweet we were selling lemonade for a dime. We made a killing. Bright idea. Number 5. Jessie remembered it immediately. That's called goodwill, she said slowly, picturing the exact page from her mother's booklet with a definition. Goodwill. An intangible but recognized asset that results from selling goods products, having good relationships with your customers and supplies, and being well regarded in the community. It's when you do something nice in a business and it ends up paying you back with money, she sighed. Why hadn't she thought of that? She would be sure to tear out that definition and put it in her lockbox when she got back to the lemonade stand. Well, whatever. We cleaned up, said Evan. Even so, said Jessie, trying to find some way to prove that Evan had not had a good day selling lemonade. You had 4 people working the stand. So if you split it $45 4 ways, that's only $11.25 each, which is still way more than I'm going to make today, she thought, since the whole neighborhood has already filled up on cheap lemonade. We're not splitting, said Evan. The guy said I could keep it. Right, said Paul. All for good cause. That's not fair, said Jessie. Sure it is, said Evan, as he got on his bike and pushed off. In case you didn't know, that's what it's like to have friends. Evan crossed the street. Ouch, said Paul. TTFN, said Jess. He followed Evan. Jessie was left standing alone in the driveway. Oh, that's really sad, isn't it? She really doesn't know how to people. She doesn't know how to have friends. That's really, really hard. And Evan is her only friend. And now he doesn't want to be her friend. How would you feel if you were oven, and how would you feel if you were Jessie? Let me know. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.